Hey, what's up? You are welcome to Soul Food Sunday. It's Ria, if you love me, and I have my homegirl Roz here. I'm so excited. Like this is my homegirl, like homegirl.
I'm
What's up,
back.
Roz?
Hey, how
How
are
are
you?
you?
I'm wonderful.
So Roz is an esthetician, right? So what is an esthetician? Because I tell her all the time I don't wash my face. So what is an esthetician? What do you do? What do you do?
Oh my gosh, so estheticians can do a whole lot of things, but we do
Okay.
focus in beauty, we focus in skin health. We can be in the space of permanent makeup, we can be in the space of makeup artistry,
Mm.
we can be in the space of skin treatments, laser technicians, we can be consultants, we can be writers, we can do a whole lot of stuff,
Oh
but
wow.
all in the space of beauty and skin health and helping you, darling, to wash your face.
We're gonna pray. We're gonna pray. I mean, I wash it when I wear makeup sometimes.
Well, and that counts, and I will give you that. I will give you that. You get a half a point to Korea.
Thank you. Thank you. So let me ask you this though. So did you always think that you was gonna be an esthetician, or like how did you take on this?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I thought I was going to, first of all, I thought I was going to be a ballerina. That's one.
Me
Two,
too.
girl,
I wanted to be a
I wanted
choreographer.
to be
I
an
was supposed to go to
Alvin so bad.
NYU.
I want to be an Alvin so bad. Didn't work out. But then I thought I was going to be an obstetrician. I thought I was going to
Mm.
be in labor and delivery. I thought I was going to go into nursing.
Oh
That did
wow.
not work out either. Long story short, I graduated with my master's in healthcare administration. And
Okay.
again, I thought I was going to be the VP or a CEO of somebody's hospital. Didn't work out.
Really? I did
Um,
not know that.
yeah, girl, that was what I was trying to do. I was
Oh
specializing in
wow.
project management and process improvement when I graduated.
Mm.
I won't, mention the company or anything, but I
Yeah.
loved it. I loved it. But the fun thing about that is that actually still translates to more industries than healthcare. So
Mm-hmm.
I still found joy in other spaces.
Mm.
Which, as we continue to tell the story, led me into human resource management at a big box retailer, which I loved what I was doing. I just
Mm-hmm.
did not love really how I started to feel in the overall experience, if that
Mm.
makes sense. Like, I loved my duty.
The
I loved
more
what I was.
corporate life, kind of like.
Yeah, it was starting to give no work-life balance. It was
Mm.
starting to give us against them. It was very
Mm.
much like, I don't, this doesn't settle in my spirit.
Yeah.
Um, and I saw the higher ups, the people who were above me, the
Mm-hmm.
jobs that I was working towards, I
Mm-hmm.
saw them leaving for reasons that actually resonated with me,
Mm.
which one, when they go home, they don't own anything, they don't have anything to give to their children, they're being taken away from their families by being in this job kind of thing.
Wow.
And I'm sure there were other
Yeah.
details that I just wasn't privy to. But I had two people that I valued their opinion, their leadership, their position, leave the company. And for me being, my early 20s, feeling like, well, I'm trying to get to where you are. But if you
Right.
are feeling this way now, I just took it
Right.
as a quick lesson and was like, okay, well, this isn't going to work for me. I can't do this. Because I felt the same way, but I thought that I
Yes.
felt the same way because I was in that mindset of, I'll sleep when I'm dead. This is the time to grind. This is
Right.
the time, like, I don't have a thing. I literally used to say, I don't have anybody at home. I don't have no
Right.
kids.
Right.
Like, I don't have no husband.
Right.
I can be here till 4 a.m. That's fine. Like, no, y'all who have kids and families, I'll take that or I'll do that. It was little things like
Mm.
that. And it wasn't all the time because I like to
Right.
sleep. But 9 times out of 10, I was kind of like, well, no, I really feel like I am more in a space to sacrifice my time and energy
Mm.
to get
Right.
to a greater good because I felt like that's where I got it, was
Yeah.
grinding that way. Um, to shorten the story, I ended up quitting in the airport on the way to Barbados. I had
Okay.
heart, and I was like, you know what, this is the time. I've had enough, and now is as good a time as any. So I called one of my superiors, let them know, and they honestly said they knew it was coming.
Wow.
So I that was it. And my original thought was like, while I was actually working in that company, I had the thought of me, opening up a wax studio. I had no idea what that would look like, but I was inspired by the woman who was my waxer. And we're still, in connection now. We still
Okay.
see each other, love her to death. Her name is Kim of Va Va Voom. Okay.
Okay. Bye bye
And
boom.
I met her literally, I mean, it was divine for me. She may not ever know that that's what it was for me. But I met her in a time where I was dealing with all these things in my job, and I found somebody who had created a career, loved what she did, and was able to do it her way.
Wow.
And I was also intrigued in women's health because obviously that's where I came from.
Right.
Women's health,
Right.
vaccine,
Oh
um,
wow. It
all
it
that kind of
makes
intimate
all the
care
sense.
was appealing to me. And so I was
Mm.
like, well, I'm going to open a wax studio, like, cause you know what I'm saying?
Right. I want
And
to be
so when
like
I quit
Baba.
my job, exactly. I put Baba Voom, I found it in a magazine, said Baba Voom. I put her on my vision board, or put that on my vision board. I was
Wow.
like, I love what she represents for me.
Mm.
Um,
That's amazing.
and I was like, well, I'll open a wax studio. I guess that means I have to have a license. And I looked it up, and
Uh-huh.
it was something called aesthetics. I had no
Mm.
idea what that was. Like, that's
Right.
how like raw it was for me.
Okay.
I found the school that I went to, and found out I couldn't just go in there and learn how to wax and then decide to create a business. I had to learn everything about aesthetics.
Right.
And our first half of the program was facials. We didn't even get to wax until later. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that's what opened my eyes up to skin health and how closely related it was, again, to healthcare, which again,
Wow.
it just connected for me. Like,
Yes.
our first chapter was anatomy and physiology, and I was like, this is my stuff. This is what I
Oh
do.
wow.
Um,
I love how God just
don't
works.
you? Because he did that.
He did that.
Because he did that.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm because as long as I know you, I guess I just never asked, but this is interesting. This is
Yeah.
very interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So it
Wow.
all just pieced together for me. And that's how it was. And I knew I wanted to start a business, so that wasn't, a surprise by the time
Yeah.
I got to school. But that's how I got into aesthetics. I say that it was birthed out of the necessity of self-care, because for me,
Mm-hmm.
that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
I needed to break away from my corporate job and make a life that I loved.
Yeah.
And the way I could do that would be by facilitating my own business where I had the freedom and flexibility to do so. So
Mm. Okay, let me ask you another. What was the preparation look like though
for aesthetics or
to
to
jump
leave.
into entrepreneurship for you?
Ooh. That was a lot of prayer, because I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know what I was jumping into, I'll be honest.
Mm.
But I think that, again, my background with process improvement, project management
Mm-hmm.
also equipped me. And even just with my degrees in general, because my undergrad is actually in health education.
Mm.
So
Okay.
all of those things kind of pieced together allowed me to kind of formulate what I wanted something to look like.
Mm-hmm.
And I honestly just talked to God about, look, what exactly is this going to mean, or what is it going to look like? Like,
Yeah.
I have no idea how to start a business. He brought people in my life who knew exactly what to do. And I'll
Mm.
be honest, I'm still figuring a lot of stuff out. Um,
Right.
but I don't know, the prepper, I just literally did it. And I don't want to say that as if I did it and it sounded easy and it was easy. It was
Right.
literally every day was a decision. Every hour was a decision.
Mm.
Whether it helped me or hurt me, or I won't say hurt, but taught me a lesson.
Right.
Um, but it was just literally finding what small steps do I have to take, and
Mm.
it would just lead me to the next one and lead me to the next one and lead me to the next one. I had absolutely no idea what I
Mm.
was getting into, not only with aesthetics, but with running a business. But
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I had to make it work. I knew I was only going to eat what I killed.
Mm-hmm.
I knew I had to
Mm.
create this to be something that I believed in, because there was no going back for me.
Right. For sure.
Um, yeah.
So you didn't have no plan B.
No, no.
Plan A had to work.
Plan A had to work. And I don't even think I realized I didn't have a plan B. I didn't even think
Mm,
about a plan B.
wow.
This
Do you
was just what it was gonna be.
do you think that helped you?
I do, because I think there was a focus about it. And it
Mm.
wasn't, if I won't even say that if plan A didn't work, it was kind of like, okay, well, this is plan A.1, this is plan A.2, and we just kind of kept going down.
Right.
But
Got you.
it's all a part of the same plan. Because even now, like at the end of the day, I have learned so much about being a business owner and how, you know, and how many ways you can stretch, that it doesn't always
Mm.
have to mean or be the same thing. But if
Hmm.
you're overlying uh like your foundation, if your foundation is the same, you can
Right.
still maneuver how you need to.
Yeah.
Um so i think that I think that having the focus on my freedom and
Hmm.
what I wanted that to mean overall in my life,
Hmm.
as opposed to I want to be an esthetician,
Right.
helped me also, because I wasn't locked into what I felt like an esthetician should look like, or what it should be
Mm.
like, or the way that it could have gone. Because I also, when I graduated, I immediately opened my business. I've not
Mm.
worked at another spa, or I hadn't worked at another spa prior to me opening my own.
Oh
And I
wow.
had never gotten a facial before I went to school, so it was very
Wow.
much me researching and looking into things. I would peek into places, I would go visit places, I would talk to people, but I
Mm.
didn't go into it with like, okay, I'm going to become an esthetician and here's my dream person that I want to go work for, and I want
Mm.
to be a part of this business that was not
Right.
mine. I immediately
Right.
was like, no,
I'm
Rosalind
about to
Michelle
grow my.
Skin Co will exist,
Yes.
it will live, and I will
Yeah.
make it be what it will be.
Wow. Because I
Mhm.
remember you had came to the office one day, um, and that's when you were in school, and
Mhm.
you were sharing to me about it. But one of the beautiful things that I've always admired about you is your love, your work ethic,
Thank
and your
you.
focus, right? Because
Mhm.
even when you were working at the what you call it, the box relay
Big
box.
box retailer.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a big box retailer. Um, what you were doing then was admirable,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. What would you say over, because you just celebrated 2 years?
Yes. I had to count. Yes, it feels like it's been longer, but yeah, 2 years.
You just
I am
celebrated two
transitioning into
years.
year three.
You listen, you are doing amazing. But what during this span of 2 years, what do you feel like was, if your like what you could define as a setback? Do you feel like you had a setback? Do you feel
Yes,
like okay?
yes. And honestly, well, let me think, because I have an answer off the top of my head, but let me
Okay.
think. Um, yeah, for me, the biggest setback for a lot of people, it was the same,
Mm.
but COVID, the pandemic. And
Mm.
the reason why for me, I feel like that was my biggest setback is I think prior to, the pandemic hitting or happening, it's still happening. Prior to that,
Facts.
I feel like any kind of setback I was experiencing, I don't feel like it set me back. I feel
Mm.
like it was, again, a lesson, or just something that was, okay, so I see where I messed up. I
Right.
see what I did.
Yeah.
And I just kept going.
Got it.
It didn't feel like it impeded me from progress.
Got it.
But the pandemic was a setback for me,
Mm.
specifically because I opened, and this is quick timeline, I opened June 2019 was when I officially had a salon suite,
Right.
officially on
Right.
my own, my very own salon suite. So
Okay.
June 2019 went straight into the pandemic right
Mhm.
at the top of 2020. So
Mm.
not even a full year of me having my salon suite, we shut down. And this is where it gets funny for me. I
Mhm.
left the salon suite I was at the end of March and moved into the one I'm currently at
Okay.
At the like a couple days later.
I remember
Keisha
because
shut the
because
city
my son
down.
came and got some skincare
Yes. So
done.
I left there. Keisha shut the city down the day I moved into my new suite.
Mm.
So that was my year. That was my first year because
Wow.
we didn't reopen until June. So that was the first year of
Right.
my business. And so the whole, celebrated 1 year. I don't even think I said anything because I was just like, listen, we open. I don't know what we're doing. Are we
Right.
here? And I was panicking because I was looking at a lot of places, obviously, everywhere else, some people weren't making it. And I
Mm-hmm.
didn't know if I was gonna have people coming back because for whatever reason, the close proximity businesses were the first ones to open. And I was just
Right.
like, I don't know if y'all are gonna, I don't
Right.
know.
Right.
So we opened in June again. And again, I still was trying to get myself together because I literally dropped my stuff off in that suite. She shut the
Mm-hmm.
city down and I hadn't been back in there for maybe a month or
Mm.
two.
Mm.
Came back in June. And by the grace of God and the support of my clients, my friends, my family, like I was able to not only recoup, but start to flourish again for that second half
Mm.
of 2020. And
Wow.
again, here we are 2021, and this has been the best year of my business. But understanding that my first year and a half was survival just makes it a
Mm.
whole lot more, special. But yeah, the pandemic was
Let me ask you, because you just hit a real word that a lot of people experience, and that's traumatic, right?
Mhm,
We want to get real. Survival.
mhm.
And what did it look like coming out of survival? What do you feel like was helped you to say, okay, this is not going to be, long term, or I need to push my way through this? Like, there has, whether it be family, whether it be, spiritual, like, what do you honestly feel like helped you really just snap out of the survival mode? Because you could have stayed there for real.
Mhm. Um, ooh, okay. I knew, okay, hold on. I'm trying not to get emotional. I knew I was going to say this before, as soon as you said that. But I feel like, I had to reckon with myself and realize that I was actually in a space of survival. I was making
Mm,
decisions out of survival mode, and
mm,
I was no longer being true to what I know I started doing this for.
mm.
I in the middle of 2020, which for a lot of people was traumatic, not
Mhm.
even like business wise, obviously,
Right.
but personally.
Facts.
And I feel like I started feeling the way that I felt, because I also started working for another company,
Mhm.
to make ends meet during the
Mhm.
pandemic. And
Okay.
as I came out, I was again in that survival mode of I literally worked every day. I had no day off,
Mm.
um, which didn't seem like a big deal to me because I had to survive.
Right.
Um, but I started to feel that same resentment that I did,
Mm.
when I quit my job before, that same
Mhm.
space that I was in where I felt like I was giving up on my dreams, my goals, the things that I felt were
Mhm.
important. Things were being pushed to the side. And
Mhm.
I feel like I hit a space where, in the middle of all the worldly traumas, I was also dealing with my own personal traumas in my family.
Mm.
And I was faced with decisions that I literally I literally quit that other job so I would never have to make the decision between work and family. And
Mm.
I was sitting at that uh I was sitting
It's
at that
okay.
fork
Take
again.
your time.
I
Take
was
your
sitting at that
time.
fork again, and I got angry with myself because I recognized again that um I started this business so nobody can tell me no, right? So I
Mm.
didn't have to ask for permission to do things. So I didn't have to,
Mm.
finesse my schedule to make something work. Like
Facts.
all those things that were important to me flew out the window during the pandemic. And
Mm.
to get myself out of that, I essentially just had to buckle down and say, Rosalind, you got to get back to where you were
Mhm.
where you're not again in survival mode and making decisions based off of your current circumstance, but where you are making decisions to put you in a place where you know you want to be. And that was it. And I ended up again, which this is just my pattern apparently, but I ended up quitting the job that I took over the pandemic. And I just put my all back into my business, and I was no longer operating in survival mode, but trying to get a more of a longevity effect. And again, prioritizing the things that I felt like was important. And again, because God is always going to make things be what they're supposed to be.
Right.
And I realized that I was doing a lot of things on my own. I realized I was making a lot of decisions on my own. I realized I was not talking to God for that guidance anymore. And I was doing things out of reaction. I was doing things just to get something done for that moment. And the minute I relaxed and the minute I was like, you know, we just gonna have to, you know, kill the bank account again, just to, you know, that's just what we got to do. Once I got back into that space and I was no longer operating in a space of survival, as I mentioned before, I've had the best year, obviously, you know, given the past year and a half or 2 years, business, I've had the best year ever in my business. And it has seemed to flow how it did when I first started, where things just line up how they need to. Maybe not where I thought that they would go, but where they're supposed to be. That was my long answer. Yes.
Yeah, because you experienced a lot of loss in 2020.
Yes. I did.
And to see you right now push through that is, I think, I don't want to pass over that for anybody who may listen and think like, oh, she's only been in business for 2 years, whatever, XYZ. But you experienced some stuff, and you were able to push through. So that is extremely commendable. And you know, and to know that, you know, one of my biggest things is to build while you heal, right? And I think it's just so important for people to understand that, you know, even when there's pain, the ability to push through is so important. It's so important. We're gonna switch a little bit, but you are an introvert. But if somebody come to your page, they might think otherwise. So how has it been like building while being an introvert? Like, what does that look like for you? Because if somebody come to your, I'm telling you, she bad, y'all. She bad. So
okay, everybody calm down. So I don't think I'm necessarily an introvert, but whatever I've seen people like talk about, like whatever's in between. I am absolutely not an extrovert. Absolutely not. That is not.
Gosh, you're not an introvert?
I don't think so. I don't know what it is. I don't think I'm an introvert because like because I would call my mother an introvert. My mother is
okay.
She's not gonna talk to nobody. She wants to mind her business and she wants you to mind hers. It's very much like when I was growing up as a child, I was the one asking people for things. I was the one translating, giving the message, you know. So I don't think that I'm an introvert, but I do think I am highly reserved in a lot of spaces. Because on the flip side of that, which you tell me all the time, nobody knows that I'm a nut. Nobody knows that I'm silly, right?
Nobody knows.
Nobody knows that. But
this is a turn-up queen, okay?
You said what? The people who do know are close to me.
Right.
The people who do know are my friends. The people who do know have been in environments and spaces where they've gotten to see my true self, which I feel like that is my true self. Like, obviously.
Yeah.
But absolutely. I am very reserved and I am somewhat shy
Mm-hmm.
when it comes to, which I know I've talked to you about this. I hate being on camera.
Right.
But there's somebody that would argue that I don't mind being the center of attention. It's weird. If it's about me, I'm probably going to be nervous about it. But if I'm playing a character, if I'm performing, if I'm representing somebody else, you want me to walk out on stage and introduce you? Like, I got you.
Right.
But if you want me to talk about me, if you want me to talk about what I'm doing, I'm gonna forget my name. I get so uncomfortable. I don't know what it is. I'm not really sure.
That's funny.
But I feel like doing all this while being that type of person, I guess you could say. Honestly, I just know that there's something that I just have to do, but I also have people in my corner like you, who get on my phone and tell you need to get on, you need to do this, that, the other. So I know that there are people who are pushing and encouraging me, and people who are validating me, because I am a person who does need that sometimes, validating me in the things that I'm saying, that it looks good. They're, giving me feedback and all that kind of stuff. But a lot of it is just pushed through, because I promise you, I hate majority. I hate majority of it. I hate it.
Actually, you just touched on a dope word that most people actually shun from, or wouldn't even admit that they need validation. What, and people don't understand, and I think sometimes people mistakenly use it as, you need to just, love yourself. If you love yourself, then it won't necessarily, you don't need validation from other people. But when you're growing digitally, and when you're just growing, period, a business, I mean, can we talk about that? Because you are the self-love queen anyway, right? So can we talk about that, and what the difference is of what it looks like between self-love and validation, and what the importance of that, even coming from being an entrepreneur or just being a friend or whatever that, the different spaces.
Yeah, I think when people talk about not needing validation from other people, I do think that that does hold true in some spaces, but I do think that there's, for me, a line where I don't seek validation in terms of my movement. Like, I don't need validation to, for lack of better words, make decisions about all the things that I do, or make me understand anything about myself.
Got it.
The validation that I need sometimes comes from just me wanting to know, am I doing the right thing? Am I on the right path? And to see, and here's a big one, from the people that I look to for that validation, sometimes it's not everybody. Be clear. It is a specific group of people who I value their opinion, who know my character, who I know they would say, Rosalind, this is a reflection of you, or it's not. So I think that when I say validation, that's more so what I'm talking about, not necessarily for them to say, oh, this is how you should do this, or this is what you should do, but it's more of a check base or checkpoint for me. For me to have somebody to say, like, hey, this is something I'm insecure about right now, and I just need you to either reassure me right now, or let me know that this is what I need to be doing, so I don't know if validation is the right word, but it feels like it is the right word.
Okay. I think so. It's just different. It's a different form. And I think you just broke down what the different ways of validation and what it could look like, maybe being toxic and maybe it being non-toxic, right?
Correct.
So you have coined this phrase called "drink your water, sis."
Yes.
What does that mean?
Oh, girl. So drink your water, sis, is basically your reminder. It is a encouragement for you to slow down, pay attention to yourself, and pour into yourself, literally. So whether that's physically, emotionally, spiritually, and literally also by drinking water, because skincare, skin health, full health, right? All those things that kind of go into how you care for yourself. And that looks different for everybody. So Drink Your Water Sis came again in that time and space where I was building my business. And it started off as a health campaign for getting your water intake, right? So if you didn't know, you need to be drinking at least half your body weight in ounces daily of water. That not only helps the cells in your body, but it can help to detoxify you, right?
I'm a big girl. That's a lot of water.
Look, you can do it. You can do it. Because here's the thing. What's so funny is I have no problem. How many times when you get a soda or a juice or something, you'll bust that thing down and still be thirsty.
Right.
You don't do the same thing with water. Right. So it's not that you can't drink that amount of liquid. You just,
just water.
Yeah, it's just water. And especially like you work out, I work out. I'm also eliminating and losing all that too. You need to replenish it.
Right.
And sometimes it may not necessarily even be drinking your water when we're talking from a health aspect, because everybody doesn't necessarily retain or the water doesn't necessarily do the same thing for everybody. Right. Some people need to eat their water. You're talking about how that's getting delivered to the body. But in terms of the actual phrase and what that stands for in my life and what it actually is, it's about self-care. And again, minding your business, drinking your water. You know what I'm saying? Like that reminder, like, oh, I didn't drink my water. Like that ain't got nothing to do with me. Right. Or let me focus on how I'm caring for myself. What does that look like? Does that mean I'm working out more? Does that mean I am making the decision to drink my water as opposed to this cocktail? Right. Does that and no shade, because we can do both, but
we can do both,
but it should still also be in the mix.
Okay? For sure. How important is skincare though? I do want to dig into this a little bit. I know we've talked about a lot of, obviously with entrepreneurship. I've been meeting so many aspiring estheticians. Like almost every other day I meet an aspiring esthetician. So, I we'll talk about that later. But how important is skincare? Like what does that mean? Like if you're so busy, you're on the go, especially I know most of the people who probably listen to this podcast are entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs. Like what does that look like, and why do we need to take care of our skin?
Yeah, so, well, first of all, the skin is the largest organ in your body. It also is a protective element for your body. So that's number one. So when we talk about skin health, we also look at how the things that are going on internally show up on the skin. So when you're paying attention to the skin, when you're caring for the skin, when you're caring for your body, and again, that shows up on the skin, you are ensuring a potentially more improved health, right? So skincare, when we're talking about, washing your face and things of that nature, I think it's important to note that for everybody, skincare is going to look different. I have a tower of skincare products. That is not everybody's call to skincare. For some people, it's just going to be getting that cleanser. Okay. And getting a good sunscreen, and that's it. And that's fine. I think it's important to know what your skin needs, so you choose the right things. So even if it is just a cleansing routine, you're at least doing the right thing that your skin needs. And then we can talk also about the appearance aspect. For me, I think that a lot of my clients, when they come in, majority of our consultations end with them saying that they want to look good without makeup. They don't want to feel like they have to put makeup on.
Really? That's interesting, because it seemed like everybody want to be beat these days.
Majority of my clients are saying, I want that natural glow, which is why that's like coined everywhere. Like, it's a natural glow. They'll look at me and say, oh, I want my skin to look like you. For me, that doesn't say enough, because I have my own things with my skin that I'm trying to improve. So I want to know, what is it that you see when you say I want my skin to look like yours? And the things they describe.
That's deep on another level. But it's kind of deep on another level.
It is.
Okay.
We be looking at each other and feeling like, no, I want that. But it's like, what exactly is that? Okay.
Right.
But You know, they describe it as I want something glowy, I want something dewy, I want to feel like I don't have to wear makeup. I don't wear makeup a lot anymore. I used to, and no shade, I love makeup. But I am also one of those people, I don't have time to do my makeup like I used to. But every now and then I will dabble, and I love to do my makeup. But from an appearance standpoint, whether it's you wearing makeup or not, even those who do want to wear makeup, you want to have a good foundation for your makeup. And to move past even the makeup aspect, you want your skin to make you feel good when you look at yourself. You don't want to feel like every time I look at myself, I am dissecting all the things that I dislike. You know what I'm saying? And for a lot of people, that's different. It may not be, you know, some people may not care that they have, you know, breakouts or hyperpigmentation. That might not be what their issue is. They may just feel like, you know, it just feels rough. It just doesn't feel soft. It could be anything. So skincare is still all tied to how you feel about yourself. And it doesn't have to be made a super huge deal of, you know, I have to have all these 20 products and I got to be doing this, that, and the other. You can still get to where you want to with the right products and the right treatments. And I think what I also like to encourage people when it comes to receiving regular skincare treatments, which we recommend you doing that at least 4 to 6 weeks or 6 to 8 weeks, depending on what you're trying to target. I think that it's important to, again, look at that as something that is not a luxury that only comes around because it's a special occasion. I think that people miss what that could be for them, specifically when you look at how skincare and receiving treatment can also save your life. And in that way, yes, in that way, you're talking about allowing a professional to have a close look at, again, the largest organ in your body, where we may notice a mole that you don't see, we may notice a growth that you don't see, we may see something and be able to point you in the direction of a dermatologist or a specialist that, you know, if we're talking about melanoma and things of that nature, like all those things happen in skincare, right? And if you aren't, you know, seeing somebody regularly, when you're talking about like preventative health care, your skin treatments can also be preventative as well as corrective. It doesn't have to all be fluff and, you know, put you to sleep. And I have no shade, no issue with that, because even with how I do my services, a lot of my clients fall asleep, even in the short amount of time that I see them. There's nothing wrong with, you know, giving yourself a little time to relax. You know, I think massages, getting your nails done, getting your hair done, all those things doesn't have to be looked at as vain or things to do because you care about how somebody looks at you. But like, no, I need a moment. Okay. I need somebody to help relax me. And that's another aspect of skincare and facials. That you can be more relaxed. Like, I can go on and on. There's so many benefits of this world that does not have to be locked into it's my birthday or it's a special occasion or, you know, let me treat myself here. And it's like, well, no, you should be treating yourself often. Again, drinking water, sis, you should be treating yourself often.
For sure.
So yeah.
Oh, wow. I feel like I'm missing out. Because I don't wash my face.
Don't get me started.
Let me see. What was your biggest investment so far as you've grown, having your own suite and everything? Like, what do you feel like was the most important so far, between software, branding? Like, what do you feel like contributed most to what you have going on?
I was originally, before you gave me examples, I was originally going to say my time, but
that too. Okay, because that's super expensive.
I think my biggest investment would have to be, my biggest investment, most important investment would have to be in brand strategy and marketing and branding. And I say all of those things separately because I learned through that they are all separate. And one can possibly live without the other, but its impact without the other would probably not have been as great. I think that the biggest compliment that I've ever gotten, or that I continue to get rather, when it comes to my business, is how professional it looks, which at first was like, okay, yeah. And now I'm just kind of like, what else you thought? But from top to bottom, the way that my business presents itself is very important. And I think having the strategy and understanding and knowing what I've had to do along the way to get to certain points or to get certain messages across. The strategy sessions that I had when I first started my business laid the foundation for me to understand the importance of the investments that I was making, understand what I was doing, why I was doing it, how I need to do it. And I think that without understanding that, I would still, quite frankly, be flying by the seat of my pants, because without strategy, there's no direction to me.
Ooh, say that one more time.
Without strategy, there's no direction. Okay.
Let the people know.
So I think that's the biggest investment, because that has been ongoing. And I also find, in also investing and not messing up, and in making mistakes along the way in that investment, whether it was not investing in the right area at the right time, or investing in one and not the other at the right time, whatever the case may be, and having to reinvest multiple times. I think that would
sounds like a lot of money.
Yeah. Like, yeah.
A lot.
A lot.
Yeah. She got her face on the bag though, y'all. Her face is on the bag.
Do I have one in here? I don't have one in here. I do, but it's in a box.
A whole bag.
I won't bother you. But yes, it's gotta look a certain way.
I love it.
But
I love it. Well, I definitely want to. Is there anything that you want to say before we head out, or any piece of advice that you want to give to an aspiring esthetician, or even an aspiring entrepreneur, or somebody who's already kind of in the game? Maybe they're 3-4 years in and they're still haven't seen their big break or what have you.
Yeah, I think that it's very important for you to always remember why you're doing what you're doing, at a very high level, and at a level where you are looking to the future of what you want your life to look like. And if you don't know what you want your life to look like, then you might want to pause and think about what that actually looks like for you. Because working backwards in that manner helps you understand the things that you need to do now. For example, if you care to live a life of luxury where you're traveling, you're doing this and you're doing that, well, what does that look like in practicality?
Right.
What does that mean? Does that mean that you need to be out of your business? Are you working towards being out of your business?
Hello.
If you are, I know, look, girl, I listen. If you're looking to, like for myself, family, time, freedom, again, I don't want anybody to tell me no.
Right.
That is the space that I have to, again, remember to hold on to. So when somebody says, this is pretty, this is nice, this will help you, that you'll remember that actually, no, because I can do that thrice over and still get what it is that I need. Or again, to just keep your head straight, to know what you're working towards, because it's gonna be hard. None of this is easy. And I want you to also remember that you will cry. You will have bad days. You will struggle. You will have moments where your bank account goes all the way down to where you don't know how it's going to get up. And I think that, it may not happen often, and, thank God for that. But those are things that can happen with this. And I think that, you're not alone. Don't ever feel like somebody's chapter 10 should compare to your chapter 1, 2, 3, or 9. Everybody is doing the best that they can. And always remember your network of people.
For sure. So that is it. I have to ask one more question because I ask
Okay.
all my guests, right?
Yes.
So it's Soul Food Sunday is the name of the podcast. So of
Mhm.
course I have to ask you, what is your favorite dish? What's your favorite soul food? If you can eat right now, what would it be? Well,
Right
it's Labor
now.
Day, but you know.
Right now, I mean, I'll be honest because I almost made some the other day with mac and cheese.
Oh,
Gets me
really?
every time. And
Does
I'll be
it?
honest, yeah, and I'm not supposed to eat it
Why?
because me and dairy, and
Oh, got it.
we're not friends. But let me
Okay.
tell you, I'm
What?
gonna always eat some mac and cheese.
Okay. Okay.
Always gonna eat some mac and cheese.
All right, cool. All right, cool. Well, thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate you more than you know. This has been amazing. I learned so much. I always enjoy these talks. So, all right, y'all. So let the people know where to find you, how to contact you, so that way when they're in Atlanta or further down the line, any other city that Rosalind Michelle will show up at. Yeah.
Yeah, so you can find me online, www.rosalindmichelleskinco.com. You can also find me on Instagram at Rosalind Michelle Skin Co. You can find me on Twitter, though I don't tweet a lot, but it's there at RM Skin Co. And yeah, I'm in Atlanta, located in the Edgewood Retail District. So if you're ever in Atlanta, around Atlanta, and you want to take your skin to the next level and be welcomed into the new skin standard, I'm your girl, okay? And that's
And
it.
that's it. All right, y'all. Y'all heard it here. We will holla at y'all soon. Bye
Bye.
bye.